I'll start with the area that's most relevant to my area of work and focus, which is what brands can do to influence shoppers in the moment of truth that's happening on retail websites. More and more brands are taking advantage of ways of accessing the shopper when they're actually in the store, in the digital store, in that environment, researching products, understanding what their options are, and deciding what to buy. And that's the area that HookLogic is focused in, helping retailers enable brands to access customers when they're in that digital store and making those decisions. So that's one very important area that's an emerging area where there's new models being presented to brands for ways to get into that retail environment. There's the classic just in physical store opportunity that brands have, and I witnessed this as a consumer. You can tell the brands that have done a good job of partnering with their retail channel partners to create content, to create messaging, to present themselves and their value to me. There's a tremendous power in the store to influence that moment of truth, and we actually heard in some of the sessions today about some of the brands, mostly in grocery, but it happens in other verticals as well, for what they're doing to partner with their channel, their distribution partners to take advantage of that opportunity. A third area, the most powerful moment of truth, occurs with in-person word of mouth, right? Just people you know telling you things about products when you're considering a purchase. That's still the most powerful thing, and it's the most difficult thing for a brand to step into. The tactical thought I have there on how to access that moment of truth is more of an always-on strategy. That means brands have to be on their game with every customer contact, right? Whether it's customer service, whether it's answering questions through Twitter, from a manufacturer brand explaining how a product works. But all of those opportunities to provide unexpectedly delightful experiences to customers, and especially in ways that are shareable digitally, right? That's part of the idea here is that if you can equip your customers or your shoppers with these wonderful experiences that are easily shareable, then you equip them to be a brand advocate for you. People love to share things they know about brands or experiences they've had with brands, positive experiences, when they find out that one of their friends is in market, right? Somebody reveals they're in market for a car, a stroller, a digital SLR camera, whatever it is. If I've got experience shopping that and have positive experiences about a brand, I love to share them, and people in general love to share them. Retailers online have done a tremendous job of attracting shoppers and engaging with shoppers online. There's been numerous studies that show that online retailers have become the dominant place online to influence the moment of truth ahead of other sorts of channels. So what a number of e-commerce players have been doing is recognizing that they can act as publishers, recognizing that they can actually open their digital environment up to brands. They're enabling their brand partners to reach shoppers and provide content that is welcomed and valuable and useful to the shopping process. So rather than being interruptive and simply taking a media model that exists on other kinds of content sites and saying, let me slap banner type display ad units all over the place, they're e-commerce pioneers that are finding ways to integrate paid placement, sponsored content from brands that's useful right into the desired shopping experience that the customers are seeking. And so when they can pull that off and provide things that are relevant, even though they're paid, they're relevant and useful and well integrated, that's what the best e-commerce players are doing to serve brands and give brands this opportunity to take advantage of that shopping process. We've had a couple of folks, brands like Graco and Step 2 and Huggies in the baby and toy space, where we've got a growing network of retailers playing. They've all been very excited to be innovative and look at their product assortment, look at what kind of share of shelf space they have on the sites in our network, and really jump in to promote themselves in this new way. So I'd like to mention Acer. Acer just finished a campaign with us whereby they wanted to promote one of their lines of laptops. I think it's called the Timeline X notebook. And so they wanted to help support the launch of that by taking advantage of shopping behavior on e-commerce sites. And so they worked with us to do a combination of media types of placements, both integrated display types as well as product ad placements. They worked with us to run a variety of display types of placements integrated into the site, as well as product ad type placements across a network of retailers, CE retailers that we work with. They had a 138% lift in sales for that product line. nearly a 50% increase in page views in the category. So we saw about a 50% increase in their share of product detail page views for that product line, and there's over 100% increase in page views for the brand in general. So there was a halo effect that by promoting this one line, shoppers were more inclined to look at the other offerings by that brand in the category. Because we operate in an e-commerce environment, we've been very focused on developing sales metrics. So we actually provide sales volume and revenue for their retail search exchange program. The other thing that we do is we'll look at the share of their overall sales within the categories that they're promoting in that were driven by their program. So we can actually say, all right, of all the sales that you had brand X in category A, this % of them were attributed to your retail search exchange program, which is a very powerful metric to look at incremental sales, not just cost efficiency of the program, which is the return on ad spend metric. We're also looking at a number of consideration metrics. So these are measures that help a brand understand how well their program worked to drive the kinds of sales that are happening not just on the site but off the site. So when brands look at the program, they're recognizing that there is that opportunity to influence. So we'll look at things like a share of voice type metric, essentially we often think of it as a share of shelf metric. So understanding when somebody is looking at the product grid on a retail site, how many of those slots were owned by the brand, and how did that change when they were running our program. We'll look at their share of shopper attention or shopper engagement by virtue of looking at their share of the product detailed page views within the category that they are promoting. We're looking at a lot of share of sales changes. So we'll look at, again, a brand's share of sales in the category. How did that share shift? We'll even look at competitive sets. And then we're developing a lot of new metrics. So there's a lot of activities, a lot of shopping actions that people take when they're on retail sites, whether it's adding to cart, whether it's other kinds of sort of shopping information type actions like emailing a product to themselves or printing it, or finding out, looking up if it's available in a store nearby. There's social media actions people take. They pin things, they like things, they tweet things. So there's a whole lot of actions that shoppers take on sites that indicate that you were able to connect with them with the relevant product, present them something that was intriguing based on their shopping behavior and their search criteria. So we're looking at how tracking all of those behaviors can provide the best possible picture, right? The most insights to the brand advertiser to evaluate what do they get, right? What do they change by doing this incremental activity, by doing this program? What were all the consideration and shopping action, shopping behaviors and actual sales that we can all evaluate and understand were influenced by that by their program. If anybody is interested, they can certainly go to HookLogic.com, learn more. There's contact forms, I believe phone numbers, so very easy to contact us and learn more.